You've heard it before, haven't you? That little phrase people love to throw around, you can't have it all. They say it like it's some kind of universal law. You can have a career, or you can have a family, but not both. You can have fame, but you'll have to sacrifice your peace. You can have love, but you'll never keep your dreams. People just accept it. But Diana Ross? She didn't. She didn't just challenge the idea. She shattered it. Completely. Because here's the thing about her, she didn't come here to play small. She didn't come here to ask permission to take up space, or to shrink herself so other people felt comfortable. No. She came here to shine. To live her dream. To carry her family. To carry her people. And to carry an entire generation's idea of what was possible for a woman like her. And she made it look effortless. Or at least, that's how it looked from the outside. What most people don't realize is that behind the gowns, behind the smiles, behind the legendary songs, there's another story. One that's raw and honest and human. A story of a little girl who dared to believe she deserved more. A story of a woman who learned how heavy it feels to carry the weight of everyone else's expectations on your shoulders. And a story of what it really costs to keep going when everyone around you is telling you to stop. So, let me tell you that story. It all began in Detroit. Not the glamorous Detroit you see in movies, but the real one. The Detroit of tight-knit neighborhoods, clattering factories, and streets lined with corner stores. Diana grew up in the Brewster Douglas housing projects, a cluster of red brick apartment buildings where families worked hard just to keep the lights on. She wasn't born into privilege. There were no fancy music lessons or glittering clothes waiting in her closet. Just hand-me-downs and a strong mother who believed in keeping her kids polished, clean, and respectful no matter how little they had. Even as a little girl, Diana stood out. Not because she was the prettiest or the loudest, but because she carried herself like she already knew she was destined for something more. She was the type of child who made you pause when she walked into a room. Teachers noticed it. Neighbors noticed it. Even strangers would stop and stare at her walking down the street, because she held her head a little higher than the others. That confidence didn't come from what she had. It came from who she was. By the time she was 15, Diana was already chasing her dream. She joined a little singing group with 3 of her girlfriends, just a few teenagers harmonizing after school. They called themselves the Primettes. They weren't polished yet. They didn't have matching gowns or fancy shoes. Sometimes they wore the same Sunday dresses to auditions that they wore to church. And they got rejected. Over and over again. Record executives would sit in their offices, listen to them sing, and then shake their heads. Girl groups don't sell, they'd say. You're too skinny. You're too quiet. You're too ordinary. But Diana didn't flinch. Every time someone said no, she'd smile politely and say thank you. And the next day, she'd be right back at the door, knocking again. She refused to believe she was ordinary. Eventually, Motown Records finally gave them a shot. And in that moment, everything changed. The Primettes became the Supremes. And they didn't just succeed, they skyrocketed. They became the biggest girl group in the world. Hit after hit after hit. Where did our love go? Baby love. Stop. In the name of love. These songs weren't just popular. They were groundbreaking. They gave a sound, and a face, to a new kind of power. For the first time, millions of little black girls could turn on the television, see Diana standing there in her shimmering gown, and think, if she can do it, maybe I can too. But even in the middle of all that success, the shadows started creeping in. The other girls in the group began to resent her. Jealousy grew. Fights started. Whispers behind her back. And it hurt her deeply, because these weren't just bandmates. These were her friends. But Diana knew that sometimes, chasing your dream means walking alone. So she did the hardest thing she'd ever done, she left. And that's when people really started doubting her. They told her she'd never make it solo. That women couldn't sell out stadiums alone. That black women couldn't headline. That she was making the biggest mistake of her life. But Diana didn't just prove them wrong. She rewrote the rules completely. Her solo career exploded. She became one of the most successful artists of all time. She went to Hollywood and starred in Lady Sings the Blues, playing the legendary Billie Holiday, a role that earned her an Academy Award nomination. She became the first black woman to co-host the Oscars. And when designers refused to make her dresses because of the color of her skin, she started designing her own. And she showed up anyway, wearing gowns more dazzling than anything they could have dreamed of. And then came the moment that would define her courage forever. In 1983, Diana performed a free concert in Central Park. More than 500,000 people showed up. And halfway through her performance, the sky opened up. The rain poured down. Lightning cracked. Wind whipped through the crowd. Security ran to the stage, begging her to stop. But Diana stood there. Soaking wet. Gown clinging to her skin. Hair plastered to her face. And she smiled. She leaned into the microphone and said, "If you can stay, I can stay. I'm not leaving you alone in the rain." And she kept singing. That's who she was. A woman who carried the world, even through the storms. But here's what most people never saw. Carrying the world takes a toll. Diana worked harder than anyone realized to hold it all together. For decades, she balanced her career, her reputation, and her family. She raised 5 kids while touring the globe. There were nights she'd perform in one city, take a red-eye flight home, just to be there for a school recital or a birthday, and then fly back out the next morning for another show. She never complained. One of her daughters once said, "She taught me never to apologize for taking up space. For shining. She showed me how to walk into a room like you belong there, because you do." And isn't that something we all need to hear? That it's okay to take up space. That it's okay to be big. To dream loud. To shine even if it makes other people uncomfortable. Diana Ross showed the world that it's not enough just to have a dream. Because a dream by itself is fragile. It's soft and easy to crush if you let other people tell you what you can and can't do. And that's what so many people tried to do to her. They told her she wasn't enough, not strong enough, not talented enough, not the right kind of beautiful, not the kind of person who could break through all the barriers stacked against her. But she didn't let their voices drown out her own. She refused to sit quietly and let her dream stay just a wish. You have to have the courage to live it. That's the part nobody talks about. It's one thing to say what you want in the quiet of your bedroom, when nobody's listening. But to stand up and say it out loud, to show up every day and fight for it, to keep going even when people are laughing at you or walking away, that takes something deeper. That takes strength you don't even know you have until you're standing there, completely alone, facing the storm. And she faced plenty of storms. Even when everyone doubts you. Because there were so many times she was told to quit. To go home. To settle for something smaller and safer. So many moments when it would have been easier to just believe them. But she didn't. She kept walking forward, even when her own friends turned on her. Even when you doubt yourself. Because she was human too. There were nights when she probably wondered if she was good enough, if the fight was even worth it. But she didn't let those doubts win. She kept showing up. Even when the storms come. The real storms. The kind that tear through everything you've built, soaking you to the bone and leaving you standing there with nothing but your own determination to hold on to. She didn't run. She stood tall, proving to everyone watching that no matter how hard it gets, you keep going. She carried the world. Not because it was easy, but because she believed someone had to. And she decided it might as well be her. And now, maybe it's your turn. So let me ask you. What dream have you been told is too big? What rule are you ready to break? Go ahead. Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if you felt inspired by Diana's story today, you're going to love our next video about another untold legend who broke all the rules of fame. Just click right here to watch it. And before you go, if this story moved you even a little, do me a favor. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Because if Diana taught us anything, it's this. You can carry the world, too. Now go shine. What dream are you chasing right now? Tell me in the comments. And don't forget, the next Untold legend is waiting for you here. Like. Comment. Subscribe. #RiseUntold.